And so today I'm going to be giving a demo, a very quick demo of using domain custom domain for your native 7 application. In this case, this is my application. This is the application I have right now. Now the application itself, what it does is simply says the native feature is bright. That's all it does. And if you call the application, it's going to respond with native feature is bright. Now it's a very simple process. There's a documentation on native website. All you have to do is just make sure you have native components installed, and also make sure you have your service properly configured, and make sure your Docker is properly configured. Make sure the target is properly configured, and all you have to do is kubectl apply. So what is going to happen is it's going to create all the components for you, the configuration, right, the route that you need, revision that you need. Now it's going to create all the components for you. But the problem that you are going to have is the fact that this application cannot be accessed from the outside, right? kubectl get service, right? The application is not going to be accessible from the outside. Now, how do you make this application accessible from the outside? Now, you have to use what we call custom domain. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to edit kubectl edit this config map called config map config, I think, domain in namespace native 7. Okay, this is it. Now you are going to replace whatever value, for example, example.com, with the domain name that you want to use. Right. Now after you've done that, kubectl, you save it. Now the next thing you are going to do is you are going to update. There's a way, there's an object that is responsible for accessing your native um, application. It's called native shared gateway. Now this native shared gateway itself has a service called native ingress, right? Native ingress. So kubectl get service namespace HTTP system. It's in the HTTP system, right? It's called native ingress gateway. Now what you need to do is you need to update. You need to kubectl edit service native ingress namespace HTTP system, right? Now you need to update the load balancer IP to the static IP, to a particular static IP. For example, in my case, I'm using Google to get my static IP. So I just created a static IP in the same region as my Kubernetes cluster, and I simply update this particular value and save my this particular config map. Now after you've done this, if you run kubectl get service it will, for those that just updated it, it's not going to show you the external IP immediately. It's going to show you that the external IP is pending, right? But after a while, this is going to get updated. Now, so that means you've assigned your static IP address. Now, the next thing that you need to do is to point your custom domain to your service. Now, after you've assigned the static IP address, you need to get the domain name of your service. You can kubectl get service. What's the name of a service? Hello World Go, right? The name of our service is called Hello World Go OYAML. Now, you can actually see the name of your service. Okay, kubectl. This is I want to describe it. Describe. Please describe my service. All right, it's all right. It's not the I need. Okay, that's the service. Trying to get the service. Okay, get my service. All right. So my service called World Go. I want to describe it. All right. What about if I edit the service itself? Okay. Alright. Alright, great. Now what you need to do is kubectl get this thing get services dot serving the native dot dev. So boom, hello world go. So you are going to describe that, and this is what you need to get. This is the object that we're looking for. This is the object that contains your service domain name. So in this case, this is my service domain name, right? Because as you can see, it's using tundeoladipupo.com because I updated the domain config map. Now, remember, you only see it use this particular domain name if you launch the service after updating the config map. So if you do that before the config map, it's going to be using the domain name of the previous config map configuration before you updated it. For example, the previous was example.com, so this is going to be example.com. But if you launch the service, if you run kubectl apply, your hello.yaml, after you update the config map, it's going to use the correct domain name. Now, after it has configured the domain name, the next thing that is going to happen is you go to your DNS provider. In this case, this is my DNS provider, and I'm simply I'm simply using this guy, right? I'm simply going to point hello-go.default.tundeoladipupo.com to the static IP address from my the static IP address from my Kubernetes, sorry, my native my native configuration, my native load balancer configuration. I lost my thought for a couple of seconds there. So that's just the configuration. The first thing remember is you first of all update the config map history, right? Okay. Alright, so the first thing that you do is you update this config map, right? Now the next thing you are going to do is you are going to edit this particular service and set load balancer IP to the IP address that is generated from here. Now after you've done that, you go ahead and run kubectl apply the service, your application, right? Now once you've done that, if you go ahead and describe your application itself, your Knative object of your application, you will notice it's going to have the correct domain name and simply point that domain name to the static IP address. That's all you need to do. All right, thank you very much and have a wonderful one, and I'll see you guys next time.